Hi, I'm Barry Ostrowski. At Barnabas Health, we believe citizens need to be informed about the important healthcare issues affecting their lives. That's why we're proud to support healthcare programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners on public television.
This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by TD Bank, the New Jersey Education Association, NJIT, New Jersey Institute of Technology, Barnabas Health, Life is Better Healthy, MagnaCare, New Jersey Sharing Network, dedicated to saving lives through organ and tissue donation, and by the Mental Health Association in New Jersey. Promotional support provided by The Record, North Jersey's trusted source, and NorthJersey.com, and by Commerce Magazine.
This is One-on-One.
When you first heard that they were doing Charlie Rose and Gayle King, didn't you go, what?
People like laughing at others, so I don't mind if the other is me.
See, you go right into the character. That's what it is.
I'm bringing families together a half an hour each week. Man, I'm doing something special.
And so I do feel successful.
Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. Welcome to the WNET Tisch studio in the heart of Lincoln Center, Manhattan. It is my honor and pleasure to introduce some folks whose family come from the same section of Italy my family comes from. How about Jody Scaravella, who is the owner of Enoteca Maria and the author of Nona's House. And how about this? Nonna Carmelina Pica, who is one of the cooks at Enoteca Maria.
Yes.
What an amazing story this is. We're looking at the book right there. Jody, what is the story behind the restaurant before we talk about the book? This restaurant is in Staten Island.
It's St. George, Staten Island, yeah. It's very close to the ferry.
This is not just any restaurant.
For me, it's not even a restaurant. I would describe it more as an experiment. You're taking non-professionals and you're putting them in a professional environment, and basically you want to see what happens. And
who are these non-professionals?
These are all grandmothers, Italian grandmothers.
That's why they're called nonas. Mm-hmm. So these nonas, they come in and they cook their own special meals. First of all, how do you get them? How do you get this beautiful nonna to come in? How do they get you?
My daughter-in-law, she was looking for a job on a computer, and she saw the
was it Italian newspaper? I hate to. Was it Il Progresso?
No, it was the OG.
Oh, it was OG. Okay,
yeah.
I shouldn't have assumed it was Il Progresso. But go ahead.
But,
you see it in OG. What happens?
You see, Ma, this is this. I retire from work, and she told me, this job. I'm like, only one day a week. You can go. And I say, I never work in a restaurant. I don't know. I cook in a delicatessen, right. And but I never serve people, make a plate, they give it. Then when he saw that I had a little experience cooking, he said, you come on Wednesday.
So Wednesday's our day.
Wednesday, it was a Monday. He said, come to work on Wednesday.
And you started on Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Is that how it happens?
That's how.
But how do you screen these nonas to come in and they cook? But how do you know that they're good?
In the beginning, when I first put the ad in the paper, the restaurant wasn't even built out yet, so I invited them all to my home, and they all came, and they came with their husbands and their children and their grandchildren and their friends, and they came with plates of food, and they all wanted me to try their food. It was like a Fellini movie, but now I can talk to somebody, and after I talk to them for 5 minutes, you can tell.
But Jody, you didn't originally ask for nonas. You asked for housewives.
Italian housewives.
What happened?
Well, the Italian grandmothers showed up with these housewives, and of course they were the obvious. They were the.
Because who were the ones who really knew how to cook?
Who taught their.
Exactly.
Right. Who was the teacher?
So, you come in, and you have all these other nonas. Does everybody get along right away?
Yeah, I get along with everybody. I'm very friendly.
You're from Naples?
Yes.
Right, we're talking about the same, paese means the same area.
Yeah.
Okay, but people come from different parts of Italy.
Oh, yeah.
Such as
Well, we have Nonna Rosa. She's from the Vicenza, from the Veneto, which is way up north. And we have Nonna Cristina, who spent most of her life in Bergamo, which is also, it's around the Milano area, Emilia-Romagna, Lombardia.
Which has different kinds of food.
Exactly. Everywhere you go, there's influences from, like in Sicily, when you go to Sicily, Sicily was occupied by so many different people, and the Arabs actually occupied Sicily for over 100 years.
That's right.
My grandmother, on my mother's side, was from Sicily, so she used to make the meatballs, and she used to put the raisins in there and the pignoli nuts.
That's only certain sections.
Yeah.
And in the north, there's some cream, and you would never find that in a Neapolitan dish.
Exactly.
Never.
No, we make more sauce, you know, like a tomato
Everything's red.
sauce.
Everything's red sauce.
I don't know everything, but, you know, we cook a lot of things with the sauce.
Well, no, but I mean by the sauce,
Yeah.
you're saying it's not brown sauce.
No, 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 no. Tomato sauce.
Tomato sauce, okay. You don't call it gravy.
No.
I just want to make it clear.
Salsa.
So I understand.
Yeah.
And where the idea, and did it just explode? And all of a sudden, people are finding out that you have these wonderful chefs,
Yeah.
and then people want to be there.
Everybody loves going to Grandma's house. I mean, I always say it, if I had a choice between going to a 5-star restaurant and going to Grandma's house, I'm going to Grandma's.
And the name of the place, Enoteca is in Europe. That means something. Tell everyone what Enoteca means.
Enoteca means wine library. They have them in France, they have them in Italy, and it's a place you can go to try a glass of wine. If you like it, you can buy a bottle or a case or something like this.
That's Enoteca, but Maria
Is my mom.
had to be named that, right?
Yeah, well, my mom actually left me a little bit of money, and so I thought it was only right to name it after her. But actually, if she knew that I was spending her money in this way, she would have killed me.
But how about the book? How about this book?
The book.
How much do you like this?
Very much.
Why is it? Tell people why this is a good thing.
Because you get things like everything homemade. You know, people are there. It's not like the American cookbook. It's a little American. It's a little Italian. This is it's a more an old-fashioned way.
Did you put yours in here?
Yeah.
Let me ask you. Wasn't it difficult
You
to
look
take?
at page 618.
This is you.
Yeah.
What is this dish?
This is, you know, it's a seafood, linguine with the seafood sauce.
Is that your favorite?
Yeah,
I heard that your favorite was it shells? Hold on. Didn't you say that one of your favorite was managati?
I made a marigotti with crepes, you know.
Yes.
Or make pasta, you know. And then make it with the, you know, little white sauce. I make it with the
White sauce. Well, let me ask you this. Are these recipes written down by these nonnas? Because I didn't know a lot of grandmothers in our neighborhood who wrote things down. It was all in their head. So how did you get it?
Well,
we had a time.
Look at you taking over the interview. Go ahead.
We had a time to do because we cook everything a little this, a little
Yeah,
that.
how do you say how much? If you're throwing a little bit of this and a little bit of that, how much? How do you say a quarter a teaspoon?
Before we did this, we had to make we had to cook and make you know, the right way.
You had to figure it out.
Figure it out.
Okay, even though she took over the interview, got a minute left. Why should people go get this book?
The book is, my idea was to create a memoir of these ladies growing up in Italy, their immigration to the United States. There's a lot of wonderful stories, and it's sprinkled with recipes. And Simon & Schuster, they loved the idea, and they produced it. And the writer, Elisa Petrini, did a wonderful job extracting these stories and formulating them so they make sense. And recipe developers took a pinch of this and turned it into actual recipes. So
How much do you love what you do?
I love what I do.
How much do you love what you do?
Oh, I love it. I love the restaurant. I love a cook. My husband say, if she's not cooking, something wrong with her.
How long have you been married?
55 years.
What's the secret?
Keep your mouth shut.
It's my 14th anniversary today. Could you call my wife and talk to her? Give her advice?
Okay.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. You're beautiful, and you're great. Thank you so much. Enoteca Maria, okay? And the name of the book is Nona's house. Go out and get it. Thank you so much for joining us.
This is like a storybook.
I know. Can I finish the show? Watch her. Don't let her fall. Stay with us. We'll be right back right after this.
To see more one-on-one with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
We are pleased to welcome Andy Serwer, who is editor-in-chief, Yahoo Finance, and also editor of American Enterprise, A History of Business in America. You edited this book, didn't you?
Did, yes.
Why?
Well, because it was a real opportunity actually to serve. It was helping the Smithsonian Institution. And when you get a call from the Smithsonian, it's maybe not quite like the Baseball Hall of Fame, but to me, it was a real opportunity. Exactly, it's as close as I'm going to get because I can never hit a curveball.
Right.
Join the club. The Smithsonian, to help the Smithsonian, help them put on this exhibit about the history of American business. This is a book that's being put out in conjunction with that exhibit.
Well, I want to make it clear, you spent 30 years as managing editor, just about 30 years at Fortune magazine.
That's right. 30 years at Fortune, 9 years almost as editor, I should say.
You know, Andy, you've spoken to, interviewed, dealt with the titans of industry, I mean, the giants in this world. People like Steve Jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Warren Buffett.
Yep.
All kinds of people who today we try to understand, you know, what made them tick, made them successful, how they come back from certain failures. But you also go back, and in this book, this very terrific book, you know, American Enterprise, A History of Business in America, you look at what you call 4 eras of business, if I could. You call it, and follow us on this, folks, the merchant era, the 1770s to the 1850s, the corporate era, from the 1860s to the 1930s, the consumer era, we know it well, 1940s to 1970s, and finally the global era, 1980s to today. Go back, merchant era, go.
Right. The merchant era was really the founding of our country, and it was when the great merchants moved goods overseas and really started to develop our economy. It's colonial times going up into the Civil War, Steve.
Okay. Most significant thing that happened during that time?
Was the expansion into this great nation that we know today, the Manifest Destiny period, and really creating a national identity, becoming a major global power.
And let's talk about the corporate era, 1860s to 1930s. Why corporate era?
Well, that's when the big companies were founded. If you think about it, it's really the Civil War to the beginning of World War II. And so it's the modern economy, the origins of the modern economy.
Is this Ford?
So, yeah, Ford was founded during that period, absolutely. And of course, the assembly line, everyone having a car, the steel industry, Thomas Edison. Think about all those huge kind of corporate business events happened during that time period.
Who did you talk to, by the way, to get this information?
Well, we talked to, the museum curators talked to, you know, hundreds and hundreds of historians, business people, professors, and everyday people to sort of try to figure out and determine what the most important trends were and what to touch upon. And it wasn't just, you know, the generals or the CEOs. It was everyday people. We deal with slavery in the book as well, and that was a big part of our economy, a terrible part of our economy and a part of our history, but a very real part that we couldn't ignore.
The part that people may not like the name of it, the consumer era, 1940s to 1970s.
I like to call that the Mad Men era. I mean, if you think about it, it's really the cool retro, the Cadillac with the fins and the television and the TV dinners and the beginning of all the brands that we know, Steve. I mean, and advertising. It really does sort of, I mean, I say Mad Men, it kind of sums it up and you immediately get what that is, right?
And during that time, consumption?
Yeah, we
huge.
Started...
Savings not.
Right. Well, we saved, but mostly, you're right, consuming was a big thing. We had, the way to think about it is after World War II, we were the only giant left standing, and we had disposable income. So we were licking our wounds a little bit coming back from World War II, but by the 1950s, we had money to spend on televisions, on rock and roll, on things from Sears, on 2 cars, on maybe a vacation home. It became a consumption economy.
Because then, for those of us who were aficionados, people who love Mad Men, did they get it right in terms of how powerful advertising was at that time and how television, as it was coming up in the 60s and early 70s, influenced our buying decisions?
I really think they
purchasing
did.
decisions?
I mean, if you think about it, so much of this stuff, you know, you really don't need. There's a real keeping up with the Joneses element in our economy, for better or for worse. And, you know, that's why you have sort of a counter movement of, you know, in the 60s, getting back to the land and stripping things away. The hippies, you know, were kind of a reaction to that consumerism to an extent. And then, of course, they become co-opted into the culture as well. So I don't think it's right to underestimate the power of advertising and television. I think they got it right.
Global area, 1980s to today.
Right.
Why global?
Well, because the world got smaller. And, you know, it could have been called the internet era.
I was going to ask you why
right.
it wasn't the technology era.
Well,
internet
it
era.
is both. And, you know, it's sort of a chicken and egg thing, though. Which came first, globalism or technology? Obviously, they're very intertwined. And you can't really have globalism without the technology. But it's, you know, it's not just the internet. It's better airplanes, it's better ships, it's better telecommunications. And, you know, now we're so used to getting live pictures from the battlefield in Afghanistan and you know, seeing things happening in China or in Africa or South America.
In HD.
Yeah, in HD, live, for better or for worse,
Exactly.
again, on that one. But, you know, it's one world, the world is flat, and all those kinds of things. And we're just trying to figure out right now, all of us, you know, the upside and the downside of that.
And the impact of 2008, the economic world imploded
Yes.
for many. What are we living with in the second half of 2015 and beyond from that?
Well, there was a real reckoning there. And, you know, speaking about the globalism thing, prior to 2008 and the financial meltdown, we were telling the rest of the world, we have this great American capitalist system, particularly the Chinese. You guys should really emulate
look at us.
Right? Look at us. We have it all figured out. And the Chinese sort of went along with it to a degree, making their economy more like a market economy. Then the crash happened, and it actually added to the firepower of the hardliners saying, you know what, we don't want to be like America. And I think the rest of the world felt that way too. The closer you were to the American economy at that point, the more you got burned. And that didn't do us any great shakes, did it? And, you know, there are implications that we're still feeling and figuring out today.
You know, you interviewed Steve Jobs, and a lot of times he would get angry at you, right? It's a contentious relationship. So many other giants like
Bill Gates, you mentioned Warren Buffett, Jamie Dimon, on and on and on. I'm just trying to, you know.
well, that's good enough, Hank Paulson. So that sets up my question.
Yeah, right.
I've been asking some people who know a little bit about leadership and those who know leadership this question.
Right.
I have to ask you, from all those folks you've talked to, what would you say you've taken from them as the most significant lesson about leadership in business? What is it?
I think it's communication. I think it's the ability to communicate and have people buy into your vision of how you want to lead. People want to follow leaders, not ideas. It's actually an interesting distinction. If you look at, say, Steve Jobs and Warren Buffett, you could say these guys are absolutely opposites. I mean, Warren Buffett is, you know, avuncular. We know he's a lot more than that. And of course, you got to be brilliant and got to work 29 hours a day. That sort of goes without saying. But you know, Steve Jobs, not a particularly empathetic person. Warren Buffett, more empathetic, tries to really understand how to make people work. But both of them are excellent communicators. I mean, just excellent. Steve Jobs doing those keynote speeches for Apple. And just one more thing, Steve.
Yeah, that's right.
I've got an iPhone here. You've never
That's
heard
what he
of
would
it
do
before,
all the time.
Right, exactly, that whole thing. And Warren Buffett just being folksy and going on CNBC and talking about, well, I just have this little thing that I want to do. I mean, they make you watch.
People follow people.
That's right.
American Enterprise, a history of business in America. Andy, I want to thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve.
Great stuff. Go out and get the book. Steve Adubato from the Tisch WNET studio in the heart of Manhattan Lincoln Center. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thank you very much, Andy. That was
To
great.
see more one-on-one with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato PhD and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
Melissa Walker is president and founder of Jazz House Kids. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for having me back.
Wow, you look great. Let's do this. Montclair Jazz Festival is happening when?
Saturday, August 15th, right in Montclair.
Right in Montclair, our hometown. You are my neighbor, and your husband is also, does he dabble in music?
Just a little, I would say. Christian McBride, who's our artistic director, and, you know, he's around the globe spreading music, jazz, and love of people.
Yeah, that's right. Last time we talked to him was at the New Jersey Performing Arts Center. He was
right.
fabulous there as well. You guys are a great team, and you've been spreading jazz and music and teaching for a long time. Can we talk a little bit, by the way, this is going to be seen before and after the Montclair Jazz Festival, which is a huge event in our hometown, which people from all over. By the way, describe the festival, describe who comes.
Yeah, well, it's a wonderful day. Actually, this year it actually kicks off on Thursday, August 13th, with an exciting brewmaster. We've got North Coast Brewing Company coming in with their craft beers, going into Pig and Prince and doing a little tasting. Of course, Jazz House giving some music. So we'll kick it off there. But the real pièce de résistance is on Saturday. It's a full day, a no tickets required day, from noon to 9. Over 200 performers. The great Jose James, a rising star, cross genres, an amazing vocalist. The Grammy Award-winning Paquito de Rivera and his quintet. Christian will come out with his Grammy-winning big band, of which I'll be playing in. An array of our faculty will perform. And over 160 young people, ages 8 to about 20, will get on the stage as well. You know, we've got a family jazz discovery zone, which is just filled with a whole day of family activities sponsored by Macy's this year, and it'll bring together the museum, Montclair Museum of Art, and we will do a lot of art projects. The library will come in and do special reads, so we'll be reading books and really encouraging reading with artists coming in and reading in English and in Spanish. Our Louis Armstrong kids will perform, and it'll wow you to see these 9, 10, 11 young people just playing this music. So it's just a full
real
day.
Community event.
It's a full day, yeah.
And our friend Nick Maselli, who we're talking about too, who loves jazz over at TD.
Big sponsor.
Yeah, not only that, but he mentioned this to us. Not only does he love jazz, but he was there the day we were doing NJ Pack. He just wanted to hang around when your husband was performing. Just wanted to hear him play.
Yeah, there's nothing like a jazz fan, and of course
they're hardcore.
They're hardcore.
Explain what it is about jazz.
I think when it catches the bug of jazz, which I think is this delving in this creative space. You know, we don't always have a time in our days to really get into the creative space. And I think when you feel this music, my husband always says it's not about hearing, it's about feeling. It's about in your soul. And it's America's music and story. And so I think there are so many people around the globe where it tells their story and it catches them and it grabs their attention, it grabs their heart and soul. Nick is one of those people, and I think when you couple that with seeing young people.
Yeah, explain that to me, because sorry for interrupting, Melissa, because the whole idea of Jazz House Kids, I'm thinking, these kids haven't seen much.
Right.
And so how do they feel this music that is unfamiliar to them, this great American art form? Thinking, how are they even adapting to it?
That's right. I mean, you know, the typical student who comes in just walks in with an instrument. Their parent loves jazz. They have some after-school time that they want them to, you know, be busy. They realize that, you know, getting involved in the arts helps them in the future. But, you know, they just walk in. They don't know what they're in for. But in this culture of success, this culture with these professional musicians who've made it their lifeblood, who have brought communities together, who've seen the best of themselves, who've gotten in front of, like at the festival, 5,000 people and tested themselves. You know, to listen to this music and to sit next to somebody taking this incredible solo, it is electrifying. And we have seen student after student kind of come in like this, Steve, you know, just say, okay, here I am, and walk out and say, I'm going to Oberlin and I'm going to continue to study. I'm going to Juilliard, I'm going to Columbia, I'm going to Montclair State University, I'm going to Ohio State. Music is a part of my life, and they're leaders. You know, they come in as kids and they walk out as leaders who have kind of ignited their passion about learning. That's why I do it.
Is that what Jazz House Kids is really all about?
Yeah, at the end of the day, you know, I'm interested, Christian, our whole team, creating community leaders and global citizens.
Is that it?
That's it.
Because we're obsessed about leadership, hopefully in a good way. I ask people about the greatest leadership lesson they learned very often, and you're sitting there saying, is it less about the music and more about leadership?
Absolutely. Jazz is just the tool in the vehicle. I mean, I love jazz. I love what it has done for my life. It brought me to sit before you. 2 weeks ago, it brought us to Peru with 13 students who played for the U.S. Embassy and hundreds, if not thousands of people.
But what does that have to do with leadership?
Well, it makes you a better citizen. You are a part of something. You are not here to be an island unto yourself. You're here to be a community leader. You're here to stand up for your world, to make a better place, to leave it better than you when you entered.
And music is the vehicle. Jazz is the vehicle.
Jazz is an amazing American vehicle to do that, and you will see it how it has freed people in South Africa, how it led people in Poland, how it helped break down the wall, in Germany. If you go around the globe as I have, you see how jazz inspired people to rise up against tremendous odds and say, "We're here. You are going to make a place for us." That's the story of jazz in America. It's an American story. It resonates around the globe. And I think that's at the heart what we're doing. And the Jazz Festival, no tickets required, bringing in tremendous people from all over, and our sponsors like Gravitas and the Silber Family Foundation, TD Bank, Arctic Glacier, PNC, many organizations, Macy's. They're saying we want to be a part of that, and young people are our future. And I think that's at the heart of what we're doing. And we've got a lot of success to show for it. And if you come out that day,
we'll be there.
You'll be part of it too.
From my house.
I know it is.
Right, literally.
And if you don't go, you're going to hear it.
That's not even a joke.
Is it true?
It's right there. And it's a good sound. It's a great sound.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Melissa Walker, president and founder of Jazz House Kids, and also a leader with the Montclair Jazz Festival. And together with Christian McBride, you're making some great music. I want to thank you.
Thank
so
you
much for being with us in the public television family.
Thank you for your support and having me.
One on One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. This special edition of One on One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by TD Bank, the New Jersey Education Association, NJIT, Barnabas Health, MagnaCare, New Jersey Sharing Network, and by the Mental Health Association in New Jersey. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.
I think at NJIT there are a lot of smart students.
I came to NJIT for mechanical engineering because with in-state, it's one of probably the top 3 schools for engineering.
It sort of creates a friendly competition where you can learn from them.
It's a great academic school.
I feel I'm being challenged, but at the same time, I love the classes I'm taking.
The atmosphere of being here is like being at an upstart company. It's that same kind of drive, that same kind of passion.